Shalom, real quick, giving all praise to Yahweh Shem Yahshua B'Shem Rakak Kodash. Shalom to the 144,000 and the rest of the elect out there. Shalom to you all. And this is I'm just kind of lambacking off of this video, which is currently live. Anyway, it says GMS info doc channel 12. You can erase it, but you won't be acquitted. And that's from Nahum. I believe he goes into that. I will go into it myself. But I have another title for this video, for the video I'm doing right now, and the title is sit down, get ready for it. Anyway, the title is "You Can't Erase Your History with an Edict." Now, this is something that what's his name? The actor Meredith. He acted. He was a lot young. He was old for a long time. He'd been old for years. Anyway, back in the Twilight Zone days, he was deemed to be obsolete by this court, and it wound up backfiring on the guy, the general, or whatever, and because he said the Bible and certain books, the state found them to, how did he say it? Found them to not be acceptable, so they did away with the Bible. Anyway, if you can watch the episode, it's a great episode, and he kills him by way of, on national TV, by the way. He was going to blow up inside of a room, but the general, the head guy, he was in the room, and the doors were locked, and he couldn't get out because he said he don't believe in God. But he said, "In the name of God, let me out." And Burgess Meredith, he played Rocky, Mickey. He played the Penguin in the original Batman. He said, "I'll let you." He said, "Let me out in the name of God." And he said, "I'll let you out in the name of God." And then what happened was he got out and the place exploded. But he told the guy, he said, "You cannot erase," some to the effect of, "You cannot erase something with an edict." So my title for this video again is, "You cannot erase history with an edict." So let me go ahead and let this play, bring it back some.
Talk this morning, pretty much, how Esau is trying to erase any memory of the wickedness that he's done on the planet Earth, especially here in America. And because, pretty much Esau's tired of hearing, that, pretty much the wickedness that they've done, and they're tired of hearing it. So they want to, do away with it. That's why it said out of the devil's own mouth. That was the name of the lesson we did earlier. And pretty much, we were highlighting, the wicked things that Esau has done, and how they're trying to hide it, and how they're not going to escape the judgment that the Lord got for them. Before we get started, I just want to read this one precept, Nahum 1 and 3. "The Lord, Yahweh B'Shem Yahshua, is slow to anger and great in power, and will not at all acquit the wicked. The Lord hath his way in the whirlwind and in the storm, and the clouds are the dust of his feet." So the Lord is slow to anger and great in power, but he's not going to acquit the wicked. Who are the wicked? The Edomites. When you go to Malachi, the first chapter, from the first verse down, especially when you get to the fourth verse, it tells you that these are the borders of wickedness, and it's dealing with Esau. They are the people of the Most High's curse. They are the wicked, the most wickedest people on the planet. Now you have Jake that surpassed their wickedness, but in the scale of a nation of people that are the wicked, that's them. The Edomites, so-called white people, so you can understand. And not all so-called white-looking people are Edomites. It's only if their line goes back to Esau. So the word there is Naqua. It means to be empty, to clear, be clear, be pure, be free, be innocent, be desolate, be cut off. And you're not going to be innocent. You're not going to be free. Although the scriptures say, "Whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty," but you're still going to have to pay for the wicked things that you've done. So what these devils, Trump is trying to do right now is he's trying to erase from history, all of these different sculptures and different histories that tell the truth of how these devils got America, about slavery and all of the things that make these devils look bad. And this is a part of your history.
Well, they're committing the act of piracy with these tanker ships down in Venezuela. That's the act in broad daylight. They committing the act of piracy.
You wouldn't been able to set up shop here on the soils of America if you hadn't done what you did. First and foremost, taking this land, murdering, raping, the people of this land, and then bringing which are Israelites, tribe of Gad and other tribes, and then you bring the southern kingdom of the nation of Israel here on filthy cargo slave ships to serve slavery. That history is shameful history to you, but it is what you did, and you're not going to be acquitted for it. So what I did was, this is from the White House. It's called Presidential Actions, Restoring Truth and Sanity to American History. This is what I was talking about earlier. This was dated March, the executive orders dated March 27, 2025. And it says, by the authority vested in me as president by the Constitution and laws of the United States of America, it is hereby ordered, Section 1, Purpose and Policy. Over the past decade, Americans have witnessed a concerted and widespread effort to rewrite our nation's history. Why? Because of all of the blowback that you're getting from the Israelites, and other people waking up and calling out your wickedness, replacing objective facts with a distorted narrative-driven ideology rather than truth. And what is the truth? Is it not true that you stole America? Is it not true that you brought the so-called Negroes, West Indians, and Haitians, so-called, over here to the Americas on cargo slave ships? Is it not true that you made them serve, slavery, free labor for over 250 years,
But they don't want to go, they don't want to pay, like the scriptures say. They say this is a Bible-believing system that we're in. Well, the Bible says you got to pay, you got to reap what you sow. You committed wickedness somebody, you cut somebody's hand off, your hand got to be cut off. You pluck somebody's eye out, your eye got to be plucked out. You kill somebody, you got to be killed. You burn somebody down, you got to be burnt down. It's called payback, reciprocity. What goes around comes around. Y'all don't understand that, man. You're living in a fairy tale world.
Is it not true that you had the lynchings going on even after the slaves were so-called freed? So it says this revisionist movement,
Ezekiel 35:5,
seeks to undermine the remarkable achievements of the United States by casting its founding principles and historical milestones in a negative light. And yeah, and your founding principles and historical milestones are grounded in a negative light. That's how you got this place. You didn't get this place because you just came over here. There was no one here, and you built up this country that became, that everyone flocked to make money. And you didn't. It wasn't a benevolent venture. It was wickedness that you did. And that's why right now what's happening to you is you're getting Habakkuk 2:16 right now. Because you went from being the beacon of the world to now being the people have a scope on you as being a real low, degenerate, oppressing people. A lot of those leaders down in Central America.
I did a video yesterday, a short, in London, England. I think Manchester as well, if not, that area, England. There's riots going on with these migrants, and then you got the farmers that are blocking roads because Starmer is going to heavily tax them, and then he's getting ready to. Everybody has to be issued that, national ID, digital ID, which is one step closer to the MOTB.
South America call you imperialists, call you all different types of names and oppressors and all of that, because that's what you are. That's what you do. You beat people down with a continual stroke. You've exercised your power over the people of the earth instead, and even among your own people, instead of helping the people out, being in the position that you're in as a leader, right? As a the landlords of the earth. Instead, what you do, you take that power and you oppress the people. Why? Because the people that are heading it, which are the top demons, the synagogue of Satan, the small hats, the tiny tops, the mini caps, which is, the synagogue of Satan is really dealing with wicked Israelites, but you are a bunch of devils anyway. Habakkuk 2:16, thou art filled with shame for glory. Yeah, because the glory that you have is a stained glory. It's just like if you had a whole bunch of people running a marathon, right? And when they ran the marathon in the 25th mile and 25th and a half mile, somebody jumps in that's fresh, and they're running at the end.
And that actually happened years ago. The New York Marathon, this woman, at the last mile, she jumped in a race. Then they didn't have cameras like they do now, but they found out that when they interviewed her, she didn't even understand certain terms that they use for people that run track.
And then they beat everything.
And they found out that she was a liar. She waited for the last mile, the last half a mile, and then she ran. She didn't even look like a freaking marathon runner.
Body. Right? And then they get the prize. I believe that happened to some demon chick did that. They get the prize, but then come to find out later that, no.
That is the same incident. It was New York Marathon.
No, she stumbled in, or he stumbled in, and at the very last minute and took the prize. So pretty much what's going to happen, you're going to be stripped of that glory, and people are going to look at you in shame, like, how dare you piece of... And that's what's happening right now. The world is looking at Esau over here, especially in America, as even your own European, so-called European brothers are looking down upon you, because you look down on the whole world. So now the Lord is
he's more stout than his fellows. That's why they're going to shoot those arrows on you. They'll shoot them arrows on you. Your own crack of kind.
Turning everything right side up, and he's exposing you. It says, thou art filled with shame for glory, drink thou also, meaning what? You're going to have to drink everything that you put upon us. And let thy foreskin be uncovered, meaning your foreskin represents the turtleneck that you have on your penis, which means you will be butt naked. So right now you're being uncovered. Your nakedness is being seen, and the nakedness represents what? The wicked things that you did, because the riches that you got, as it says in James, the 5th chapter, is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you. So we're witnessing the rust, of how you manipulated the world and how you got things. Right? So Isaiah 47:1, come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. This is America, Babylon the Great. Sit on the dust, because you've been sitting as a queen for a long time. Now it's time for you to come off of that throne.
That's why they're against us. Anyway, this is Isaiah 5. I'm going to start at the 19. Let me start at the... I'm so tempted to read the whole chapter. Okay, let me do this. Let me just read the first verse, or the heading. Parable of the vineyard. Woes for the wicked. Beautiful. Woes for that's a title right there. Woes for the wicked. Woe unto them that join house to house. That's talking about, you got, in other words, in the ancient world, if you had a house, you had land all around. You didn't have a house touching another house. And like when one house catch on fire, the whole block catch on fire, because houses is touching each other. You got people that live in apartments, right? That's house to house. Guy next door popping his wife, you can hear that shit, So you done fucked up every goddamn thing. Let me come on down to here. But the Lord of hosts shall be exalted in judgment, and the Most High that is holy shall be sanctified in righteousness. Then shall the lambs feed after their manner, and the waste places of the fat ones shall strangers eat. Woe unto them that draw iniquity with cords, that's you Edomites, and vanity, wickedness, and sin as it were with a cart rope, that say, let him make speed and hasten his work, that we may see it, and let the counsel of the Holy One of Israel draw nigh and come, that we may know it. So they in the Most High face, right? It's talking about them that are wicked. It says, woe unto them that call evil good and good evil. That's what these people do. That put darkness for light and light for darkness. That put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. Give me a second. I just want to find this. Sorry. Okay, give me a second. Let me do it. It's not it's in Isaiah, but Isaiah. Got to find it the hard way. Good, it's only 10 times. Okay, so I was at Isaiah 5, right? What are them that called bittersweet and sweet bitter, darkness for light and light for darkness. But surely your turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as the potter's clay. For shall the work say of him that made it, he made me not? Or shall the thing framed say of him that framed it, he had no understanding? This is what you did. You surely you're turning of things upside down, right? You're turning of things upside down. You turn everything around. You're saying that you're the righteous and we're the wicked. That we're extremists. We're religious extremists. No, we're just telling the truth. Anyway, I'm sorry. Let me come on back. Uh-oh. I got to get that back. Bear with me for a minute, y'all. Bear with me for a minute. Let me just bring that back. Do it this way. Try to get this back. Bear with me for a minute, y'all. There we go.
Slavery, free labor for over 250 years. Is it not true that you had the lynchings going on even after the slaves were so-called freed? So it says this revisionist movement seeks to undermine the remarkable achievements of the United States by casting its founding principles and historical milestones in a negative light. Yeah, and your founding principles and historical milestones are grounded in a negative light. That's how you got this place. You didn't get this place because you just came over here. There was no one here, and you built up this country that became, that everyone flocked to make money. And you didn't. It wasn't a benevolent venture. It was wickedness that you did. And that's why right now what's happening to you is you're getting Habakkuk 2:16 right now. because you went from being the beacon of the world to now being the people have a scope on you as being a real low, degenerate, oppressing people. A lot of those leaders down in Central America, South America, call you imperialists, call you all different types of names and oppressors and all of that, because that's what you are. That's what you do. You beat people down with a continual stroke. You've exercised your power over the people of the earth instead, and even among your own people, instead of helping the people out, being in the position that you're in as a leader, right? As a the
You beat people down with a continued stroke. That's Isaiah 14. But I want to go to this real quick. Let me do this. And it's all the way over here. Isaiah 14. Right, their staff is broken. Yahweh have broken the staff or the power of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. He who smote the people with wrath with a continual stroke, he that ruleth the nations in anger is persecuted, and none hindereth. So all these nations that possess these missiles are going to come against you. But this is what I really wanted. But I wanted this in the NLT. NLT. I may even go into the amplified. Okay. In the place of the dead, there is excitement of your arrival, of your downfall. The spirits of world leaders, kings in the past, and mighty kings, long dead, stand up to see you, to see you fall. So that's reincarnation right there. These nations that are coming against you, they were on this earth before in their leadership position. They were kings in the another life. Let me go to the amplified. See what that says. Sheol, which is the pit below, is excited about you to meet you when you come. You, oh my goodness, you tyrant of Babylon. You tyrant of Babylon. That's amplified. It stirs up the spirits of the dead to greet you, to see your downfall. All the leaders of the earth. It raises all the kings of the nations from their thrones in astonishment at your fall. And that goes hand in hand with Revelation 18. He said they're going to be afar off. Some of them are going to be happy and some of them are going to be sad. The ones that's going to be sad are the ones that's going to not be able to. China's going to be sad because they said, we can't get these suckers no more. You know? So anyway, come back over here.
Landlords of the earth, instead, what you do, you take that power and you oppress the people. Why? Because the people that are heading it, which are the top demons, the synagogue of Satan, the small hats, the tiny tops, the mini caps, which is, the synagogue of Satan is really dealing with wicked Israelites, but you are a bunch of devils anyway. Habakkuk 2:16, thou art filled with shame for glory. Yeah, because the glory that you have is a stained glory. It's just like if you had a whole bunch of people running a marathon, right? And when they ran the marathon in the 25th mile and 25th and a half mile, somebody jumps in that's fresh, and they're running at the end, and then they beat everybody.
Okay, we heard this.
So-called European brothers are looking down upon you because you look down on the whole world. So now the Lord is turning.
Stout. Let's get the word stout in Daniel. I'm going to go back to the King James. Okay, I don't be messing with this here, but okay, let me go to Daniel 7. These European nations, your brothers on the other side of the earth, they hate you too. They showed you that in American Gigolo in Europe. It was a comedy. There was 2 parts to it. The second part, he went to Europe, and the whole movie was around how you had Europeans with France and so forth. They had T-shirts saying, "I hate America." Everything was about hating America, because that's true. Because you were more stout than your fellow. Let me do this. Stout. Okay, and the 10 horns, which represent the European Union and NATO, that were in his head, and of the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell. The other is America. The 3 fell is France, Great Britain, and Spain. Even of that horn that had eyes, and a mouth that spaketh very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows. So let me go look up the word stout. Stout. Rob, a great master, stout, captain, lord, chief. They're looking down like we the top Europeans on the planet Earth, the American Europeans. So that's why ultimately these European nations that possess long-range missiles are going to shoot them on you. So let's come on back.
Turning everything right side up, and he's exposing you. It says, thou art filled with shameful glory, drink thou also, meaning what? You're going to have to drink everything that you put upon us. And let thy foreskin be uncovered, meaning your foreskin represents the turtleneck that you have on your penis, which means you will be butt naked. So right now you're being uncovered. Your nakedness is being seen, and the nakedness represents what? The wicked things that you did, because the riches that you got, as it says in James, the 5th chapter, is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you. So we're witnessing the rust, of how you manipulated the world and how you got things. Right? So Isaiah 47:1, come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. This is America, Babylon the Great. Sit on the dust, because you've been sitting as a queen for a long time. Now it's time for you to come off of that throne. Sit on the ground, there is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. Take the millstone and grind meal, uncover thy locks, make bare the leg, uncover the thigh, pass over the river. So pretty much you're being exposed. How are the hidden things that Esau searched out? So going back to Habakkuk 2:16, thou art filled with shameful glory, drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered. The cup of the Lord's right hand shall be turned unto thee. And that's why you're being exposed. First step to judgment is exposure. Sentencing.
Yeah, everybody sees Nero Redivivos. They see his condition. His health. When he came into office, this is talking about not even a year, another money being here for a year, he aged. In 1 year, he aged, seemed like he aged like 15 years. Being the president, man, when Barack Hussein Obama became president, he had black hair, now that look at gray. When he left the presidency, he got a full head of gray hair. This being the president is not cool.
Comes next. Then the judgment. And you're about to receive the judgment. And shameful spewing shall be on thy glory. And this is what's happening right now. This is why you're scrambling to try to hide all of the things that make you look bad. All they're doing is telling the truth. Bringing out information and pictures and things that you've done over the past. The wicked shit that you've done. So how is that harmful? No, it's harmful to you because you don't want that to be spoken about. You want the great achievements of America to be spoken about. But without that, without knowing where you came from, you can't, expect people to just accept the bullshit you're trying to shove down their throat, without knowing where you came from and the things that you did. It's shameful. So the word there for shame.
Now y'all should know what this is all about. Give me a second. Give me a second. Y'all should know what this is all about. Now, remind you, you had two major camp leaders say to go ahead and take it. We said not. So,
Shameful spewing is kwala one.
Scriptures say in the Apocrypha, never trust thy enemies.
It's disgrace, shame. So you're being disgraced publicly. So going back. So it says, this revisionist movement seeks to undermine the remarkable achievements of the United States by casting its founding principles and historical milestones in a negative light. Under the historical revision, our nation's unparalleled legacy of advancing liberty, individual rights, and human happiness is reconstructed as inherently racist. And it is racist. Because when you came here with your Christianity, it was a white supremacist Christianity. Sexist, oppressive, and it's been oppressive, or otherwise irredeemably flawed. Now, sexist, you can't, we don't deal with that bullshit because.
Let me do this here. How did African American slaves become Christians? African American slaves became Christians through a complex process involving forced, F-O-R-C-E-D, exposure by enslavers, masters, the proselytizing, proselytizing efforts of evangelical preachers during the Great Awakening and the creative adaptation of Christian messengers to their own experiences of liberation and hope. You'd be a good nigga when you go to heaven. You're gonna be pie in the sky. Let me read that again. African American slaves became Christians through a complex process involving forced exposure by enslavers or slave masters. African American Christianity during slavery. Let me do this. Prior belief, many enslaved people brought to the Americas already had established religious traditions, including various African traditions, religions, and Islam. Those were the ones that took the Arabs that took y'all over. A significant number from the Kingdom of Congo were already Roman Catholics because the Roman Catholics took them over. Initial reluctance to converts, early white colonists were often hesitant to evangelize their enslaved population, partly due to the English legal tradition that Christians should not own other Christians. So these devils said that we ain't gonna make you Christians. Well, that means we gotta set you free. We gotta set you niggas free. There's a lot you devils gotta pay for. You got a track record of wickedness. That's the topic right there. Esau got a track record of wickedness. And her car's not gonna save you. Masters' motives. When enslavers did promote Christianity, it was often a calculated effort to control the enslaved population. They emphasized biblical passages urging obedience to masters, example given Ephesians 6 and 5, to enforce the social hierarchy and justify the institution of slavery. They took down American Indians, Gad and Reuben, through a thing called manifest destiny. It's just, the Most High set us up to take you down. Let me see. Evangelical appeal, inspiration from Scripture. Okay, let's read that one. Inspiration from Scripture. Enslaved individuals found powerful inspiration in biblical narratives of deliverance, most notably the story of Moses leading the Hebrew people out of slavery in Egypt. And we are those people. We went through it in the beginning, thousands of years ago, and we went through it again. This is the second Egypt. This message of eventual freedom, while often preached as a heavenly reward by white ministers, was interpreted by the enslaved as a message of liberation in this world as well. And the enslaved Israelites, the Hebrews under Egypt, are the same people that went into slavery again. So anyway, let's come on back. Just put my
man is the head,
to this.
and this is pretty much what they're saying. All the women, fuck that. They're correct when it comes to the women, But racist and oppressor, that's what you have been. Otherwise, irredeemably flawed. Rather than fostering unity and a deeper understanding of our shared past, the shared past is you the one that did all the wicked stuff. You're the one that had us in captivity. You're the one that took our land. You're the one that did all this wicked, the castration and the raping and all of that. That's what you did. That's your past that you sharing. The widespread effort to
you white people, you did that. Inside joke.
Rewrite history deepens societal divides and fosters a sense of national shame, and that's exactly what's happening. You're being publicly shamed for the things that you've done, but you're trying to hide it, disregarding the progress America has made and the ideals that continue to inspire millions around the globe. No, you're pushing them to drink that cup if they want to, receive benefits and receive goodies. There's a reason why the scriptures speak about, that Babylon has been a golden cup in the Lord's hand. It says the prior administration advanced this corrosive ideology, talking about Biden and Kamala Harris, at Independence National Historical Park in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, where our nation declared that all men are created equal. The prior administration sponsored trainings by an organization that advocates dismantling Western foundations and interrogating institutional racism. Yeah, because there's an interrogation.
At the end of the day, where's our fucking reparations
going on right now? You're being, put under the scope of what you've done. And you don't like it. You like pointing the finger at people. You like, pushing, telling people that they're often wicked and negative and they committed crimes. But then when the finger is pointed at you and the spotlight is put on,
like Lahab said when I first got on YouTube, that guy with the finger, he talking about me.
On you, you don't like it. Matter of fact, after I read this one, let me get
devils are trying to erase history, but the cat's out the bag, so to speak.
Okay.
We know your track record, Esau.
So, Wisdom of Solomon 5:1. Then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him and made no account of his labors. So pretty much this is what's happening. And the Lord is putting the Spirit on his prophets to curse you out and reveal you. and you don't like it, right?
Well, you got a friend in Genesis. They're trying to save you, and it ain't gonna work. And none of you gonna be saved.
And in the book of Second Ezra 6 and 19. Matter of fact, let me go to the Second Ezra 6. Let me try to see if I can read. Okay, a few more minutes. Second Ezra 6 and.
Anyway, with that, you can watch the rest of this. Shalom, on to the next.